Lions have a new defensive tackle, and we talked to Andrew Siciliano.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's good, everybody? Matt Derry with you. It is another episode of Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Indeed, your team every day on a Tuesday, December 5th into Wednesday, December 6th. Andrew Siciliano, host on the NFL Network, former host of the DirecTV Red Zone channel. Miss Andrew so much on the Red Zone, but he's still on NFL Network, of course, calls games to the LA Rams, did some Browns games this year. He's going to join us momentarily right here on Locked On Lions. Thanks for making us your first listen and checking us out wherever you get your podcast. That includes on our Locked On Lions YouTube channel. Please subscribe. We're getting close to 9,000 subscribers, and that's exciting. So check us out on YouTube. Of course, follow us on Twitter at Derry Speaks, at Locked On Lions, Matt Derry Facebook fan page, and of course on Threads as well at The Real Matt Derry. Locked On Lions today brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app. Create an account and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, so before we get to Andrew and talk about all things Lions with Mr. Siciliano, Detroit at 9-3, at the Bears this coming Sunday at Soldier Field, looking for the season series sweep of Chicago. But we mentioned yesterday that Dan Campbell said Aleem McNeil is banged up, and there's a chance he does not play Sunday in Chicago. So the Lions need some help along the interior of the defensive line. And today they have signed 36-year-old Tyson Alualu, ex of the Pittsburgh Steelers and Jacksonville Jaguars. Reportedly, Alualu will start off on the Lions practice squad. Here's the thing with the Lions defensive tackles. Brad Holmes has done an amazing job with this team. He's a very good general manager. He has won the draft many times. He's done well. But one thing Brad Holmes hasn't done great with is drafting defensive linemen. All right. Aiden Hutchinson is an edge rusher. He's been awesome. All right. He's been very good. But the Josh Pascals of the world, the Broderick Martins, the Levi Onwuzurike's, McNeil's been good. But some of these others have not panned out. And now the Lions are forced, especially with, Onwuzurike, Broderick Martin, Isaiah Buggs. They've all been no-shows the last few weeks. I mean, Broderick Martin was taken in the third round, folks. He never plays. So now the Lions are going out and getting the number 10 overall pick from the 2010 draft, who played his first 7 years with the Jaguars in 191 career games. Alualu has started 113 games. He's recorded 25 sacks, 46 TFLs, and 70 quarterback hits. He's a big man. He's a nose tackle, but he's 36 years old and hasn't played football since last season. Played in 17 games for the Steelers last year, but a 36-year-old reinforcement, Tyson Alualu, is coming to Detroit. Certainly the interior guys, Martin, Onwuzurike, who's just been battling injuries for 3 years. Isaiah Buggs, who for some reason is inactive every week, it seems like. There's been some issues with him off the field, and then he seemed to be back in the good graces with the team. Now, again, he's not been playing. Lions need to find some help on the interior. And remember, Quinton Bohanna, who was signed from the Cowboys, has mostly been active ahead of Buggs and Onwuzurike and Martin the last few weeks. Now, Alualu's 36. It's like 36-year-old reunion time in Allen Park. First Bruce Irvin, now Tyson Alualu. He is your newest Detroit Lion. We will talk everything Lions with Andrew Siciliano from NFL Network. We will do that coming up next. But first, Gametime app. We've told you about it. It's phenomenal. It's the best place to buy tickets, whether it's last-minute tickets or whatever it is. You got to love Gametime. All right. You shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event because of the Gametime app. It's fast. It's easy. Best way to buy tickets, whether it's music, sports, comedy, theater, whatever it is. Killer last minute deals, all in prices. Plus, the one thing I love about the app, views from your seat and their best price guarantee. Easy to find and buy tickets for any kind of event in your area by just downloading the Gametime app. See that view from your seat before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. All in prices, show your total up front so you know what you're getting with a great deal without any hidden fees. Do yourself a favor. Download that Gametime app. Create an account. Use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Redeem the code LOCKEDONNFL, LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets. Lowest price guaranteed. All right, as promised, everybody, let's bring him in right now. Our guest today on Locked On Lions, NFL Network, legend out in Los Angeles, the great Andrew Siciliano is with us today. Andrew, great to see you.
As promised or as threatened? Which one?
Oh, I promised at the start of the show you were coming on, and here you are. What is that, coffee? What do you got?
Man. Coffee.
Yeah,
you don't like coffee?
What's the coffee drink of choice for Andrew Siciliano on a Tuesday morning?
Black?
Really?
Yeah. Why would I in any way? Why would I ruin my caffeine injection with dairy? Yeah. I mean DAIRY. Yes.
Well, hold on, but you're out in LA. Isn't it like real chic to go out and get some sort of like cool coffee?
Do we have a bunch of cool coffee places? Yes, I enjoy frequenting all of them. Give me black coffee.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. What's going on with you?
I don't get why people ruin their coffee and make it an ice cream float. For Pete's sake, give me my damn caffeine.
This is good. See, this is what we need to be seeing on those new NFL shows you're doing with like Steve Weish and Cynthia Freeland. I want to know what Cynthia Freeland's doing with her coffee.
She is a big Lions fan. You know that.
Yes.
I don't know how she takes her coffee. She lives right down the street, though. I ran into her literally, almost physically, ran into her while running last week. So her and her dog.
I'm just saying maybe that's a topic on a maybe there's never any clunker Sundays.
We'll make a wacky bit about it. Yeah.
What do you think? Yeah.
Sure.
Like a
I'll pitch it.
Wacky morning show bit.
Yes, let's do it. We'll do GMFB Sunday coffee power rankings.
Man.
Yeah, and probability to make the playoffs with said cup of coffee.
So we had you on before the season, and you said it. Hey, the Lions are looking good. Now that we're 12 games in, and you look at a 9-3 football team, what do you see?
I think they're looking good. I would be somewhat concerned with the fact that there are so many nail biters or come from behind victories or hang on for dear life like this past week victories in the last month. But a win is a win is a win. Part of me goes back to what the Eagles were going through the early half of the season when they were beating everybody, but their fan base, which is perpetually unhappy. We know this, but their fan base was, well, they don't look the same. They don't look right. Something's not right. Oh my God. I mean, whatever. And now they lose to the Niners. They get their butts kicked and, it's an emergency. I don't think it's an emergency with the Lions. However, there's two ways to look at it. These games are way too close. They shouldn't be this close. And eventually their luck will run out. Look at the Vikings last year. They won all these one-possession games and magic and luck, and everything was on their side every single Sunday. The luck eventually ran out. And there's something to that, I think, for the Lions where you just hope it doesn't run out. On the flip side of it, and this is the optimist, this is the glass half full of coffee angle, and that is they are now accustomed to being in these situations, and that will serve them well come January, right? Because, hey, we've been here. We're used to it. I don't know that the schedule does them any favors, aside from the Bears this week, who they should have lost to, honestly. Bears blew that game a couple of weeks ago. Everyone on their schedule is a legit contender fighting for a playoff spot.
It's interesting, you were somebody that saw Jared Goff a lot more than we did in Detroit. And, when push comes to shove, like you said, tight game this past week, you up 21-0 against the Saints. It should be over. It wasn't. But lo and behold, end of games, Goff just seems to deliver that knockout pass or even evading the rush this week to kind of ice that game. What would you think of that?
I mean, two things. Number one, the fact that Dan Campbell went for it, interesting. But, you know, Jared backed him up, and I mean, he's about to get sacked. He almost I don't know that he even threw that ball. It was almost like he pushed that ball
like a shot
to Josh, guy that he trusts most from here. Josh made a great catch, and they survived. I trust Jared in those moments. I will, and I bet Jared would tell you this if he hasn't already. I'm sure he has. He's a better quarterback now than the quarterback that went to the Super Bowl with the Rams in 2018. I would also argue, despite the ugly score and despite the fact that the Rams didn't score a touchdown and all those things that people remember from that Belichick Super Bowl, they're their last one. Brandon Cooks catches that ball in the end zone. It's a one-possession game. I mean, it's a one-possession game in the fourth quarter. We got a different game. Jared put it on Brandon Cooks in the end zone. He couldn't catch it. Now, he was late for the one deep in the middle of the end zone. That was on Jared. But, you know, he made plays where that could have, should have been closer than it was in the fourth quarter, and people didn't back him up. I trust Jared. If there are people who want to nitpick his performances now whenever he has a bad day, and look, 6 turnovers in 2 games is very concerning. You know what, to heck with you. You're just someone who doesn't like the guy, and you're looking for an excuse to not like him again.
Andrew Siciliano with us from the NFL Network. What about, you look at this team and you go, all right, what do you like the most? What excites you? And then maybe what worries you as we have 5 games to go?
I'm worried that you're giving up 29 to the Packers and 28 to the Saints and 26 to the Bears and 38 to a Chargers team that I know it was a downpour and it was just ugly in New England on Sunday, but a Chargers team that survived with 2 short field goals and beat the Patriots. That's the team you were dealing with. I think that is a legitimate concern come playoff time. They've got to find a way to take some of the pressure off that offense. 21-0 right out of the gate is great, but you can't be hanging on for dear life at the end. The defense has got to put more pressure on the quarterback. The defense has got to give that offense more short fields. Now, I do realize that those 6 Jared Goff turnovers in that week there in those 2 games, obviously a huge part of those defensive numbers here, or the scores at least, and what they've allowed. But the defense is what does concern me, but that's not exactly a shocker there.
No, and what's interesting, though, is here, and you mentioned before about Eagles fans nitpicking, but the Lions are 9-3. You know, you and I are having a conversation. How many times have I had you on this show over the last 7 years where you said, I haven't watched a lot of Lions. They're not top of mind. Now you're seeing every game because they're there. And
sure.
We nitpick a little bit because the division isn't good. They should win it. They're going to win it. But now it's almost like we've elevated our expectations as a fan, as you know, because we both grew up Browns fans. Like, that's a good thing, right? We're
absolutely
right.
Look, I mean, yes, to your point, would you rather be jockeying for draft position right now, or would you rather be sweating out close victories and considering the possibility of getting home field advantage? Sure. Okay. Yeah. And I'll say what I've been saying all year. No one wants to go to Detroit to play a playoff game. Nobody. Now, I do think it's fascinating, this thing setting up with the Vikings. You know what I'm talking about. Playing them twice, right, in 3 weeks at the end of the season, and then the possibility, if the playoffs were to end right now, which they don't, clearly, but the possibility of a 6-3 game with the Vikings and the Lions playing again for a 3rd time in a month. I mean, that actually leads me to question whether or not we would see some kind of tweak in the scheduling process, or some kind of tweak in the can division foes play each other in the wild card round, thinking if a team were to have to play, 2 teams were to have to play each other 3 times in what? It would be like 17 days, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's absurd.
It is absurd. You know where I thought you were going with this was the possibility of one Matthew Stafford coming back to Detroit.
Well, there's that too.
Lions finally hosting a playoff game for the first time since 1993. And then he of all people comes back into town. You got that story.
To face Jared Goff.
Right. McVay and
That
Goff.
would be amazing.
Aaron Donald, whom the Lions passed on for Eric Ebron. I mean, there's zillion. Like,
do people still talk about that there?
I do.
Really?
No, I mean, not regularly, but
okay.
Let's say Aaron Donald came into play the Lions at Ford Field for their first playoff game in 30 years at home, and he was a game wrecker. It's just a reminder. That's all.
My buddy Will Kalick, who was my right-hand man of the Red Zone channel and DirecTV
I met
for all
Will.
these years.
Will's the man.
You did when you came out. Diehard Lions fans, you guys obviously had a nice afternoon together when you came out. He named, or was it you? I think it was Will who named the former number 85 for the Detroit Lions, the tight end who you just mentioned, Droptimus Prime.
That's right. Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
But seriously, like, and you do the Rams preseason games. Like, would you say, oh, geez, the Lions should not want to play that team down the road?
It's the playoffs. Anything can happen. I think the Lions should be happy getting a home game in the postseason, and whoever you play, you play. I mean, that's the way I would look at it. The Lions are going to be tested. Like, everyone I know has their eyes on the 1 seed. So let's say they beat the Bears in Chicago. They should, right?
Yeah.
Bears are well rested, though. Let's say they beat the Bears this week. You then have the Broncos very much fighting for a playoff spot, right? In prime time.
Yeah.
You got to go to the Vikings, you got to go to the Cowboys, and you get the Vikings again. I mean, if I told you that after the Bears game, they go 1-3 down the stretch, what would your reaction be?
Well, it still would be 11 wins. You'd obviously be concerned, but I don't expect them. I don't expect them to beat Dallas. I don't expect them to beat Dallas. I don't think so.
Okay. Why?
Jimmy Johnson's getting his name up on the thing. I think that's a loss.
You think that matters to the current Cowboys that Jimmy Johnson's getting his name
but
up?
it's going to be hype, and I don't know. It just
every Cowboys game is hype.
That's true.
Like seriously, if the Cowboys were to cut Brandon Aubrey today, their kicker who hasn't missed, they wouldn't do that. But just bear with me.
Yeah.
If they were to, let's say they put him on IR because he tweaked an ankle in practice, it would be the number one story on NFL.com. I don't mean we would put it at the top of the stack.
Right.
I mean it would be the most clicked on story on NFL.com. So any and everything the Cowboys do will be the most hyped. If and when the Cowboys lose in the opening round of the playoffs because they have to go on the road, it will be the number one story for the remainder of the American sports media 2024 calendar. Nothing will top it.
Nothing.
Okay?
Not even Taylor Swift or LeBron.
Travis Kelce could fight LeBron okay?
And the Cowboys.
In Augusta, okay, during the final round of the Masters, and it wouldn't be a bigger story than the Cowboys and then what Dak Prescott's contract will inevitably be after they lose in the first round of the playoffs.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Andrew Siciliano with us, host on the NFL Network. I want to ask him about the state of the NFC, what's going on there, top to bottom. We'll do that where the Lions also sit. Locked On Lions today, though, brought to you by our friends at Jase Medical. I know we come to sports to escape from some of the crazy realities of real life, but can we talk just a minute about preparing for real life? According to the FDA, pharmacies are running out of antibiotics like amoxicillin right in the middle of the worst flu season in over a decade, and certainly that is scary. Can't even imagine a more helpless feeling than if my wife or one of my kids got sick while a supply chain issue kept them from the life-saving medication that they needed. Thankfully, we got Jase Medical. The Jase case is a pack of 5 different antibiotics to treat a long list of bacterial illnesses, including UTIs, respiratory infections, sinusitis, skin infections, and everything else. Go to jasemedical.com and complete your physician encounter. It'll be reviewed by a board-certified physician, and your medications will be dispensed by a licensed pharmacy at a fraction of the regular cost. It's never been more important to be prepared than right now. Go to jasemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com. Use offer code LOCKEDON to get $20 off your order. Andrew Siciliano with us, the great Andrew Siciliano. We miss you on Sundays, brother.
Matt, breaking news. Tommy DeVito, Syracuse, has just been named the Giants quarterback for Week 14 against the Packers.
All right. Were you?
But I miss you. But I miss you too. Yes. No. Continue. I'm sorry.
People ask all the time because they know that I know you, and they'll say, "What's he doing on Sundays?" I said, "What's he doing on Sundays? He's on the air." I know you miss the original DirecTV Red Zone, but tell the audience what you're doing on Sundays because you're back.
Why? Thank you, Matt, for that question. Teeing me up perfectly. We're doing a show. It doesn't get a lot of pub. It's a streaming show, but it's an NFL Network production. It's called NFL Game Day Preview, so it's under the Game Day umbrella. It's just not on the network. It's on basically any possible platform on which you can watch streaming NFL content. Most significantly, it's on the NFL's YouTube channel, which has like 12 million subscribers. Not on YouTube TV, but on the NFL's YouTube channel. So, for example, when your kids who only watch YouTube, they get the notification.
Exactly.
From, hey, video, like this Sunday, bam, noon Eastern, you get the notification. Here's the show. So it's called NFL Game Day Preview. It's Steve Weich and yours truly and Cynthia Freeland and Fantasy, whether it's Rank or Florio or Marcus Grant. They all do great jobs. And then all our reporters, the same reporters on game day morning, right? So Pellicero's at the game. Where was Tom this week? In New Orleans, right?
New Orleans with us, yeah.
Palmer, I think, is in Philadelphia. No, Palmer was in Houston. You get my point. All our reporters, Stacey Dales was in Philly, everywhere, join us as well. They do the game day morning hit with Rich, and then they do the hit with us for game day preview. And we have a blast. You could also watch it on it's called the NFL channel. So there's a free NFL network that's not NFL network. It's like a second NFL network that's on all the streaming platforms, on Tubi, on Roku, on Peacock, on Pluto TV, on Samsung TV. We all have smart TVs now.
Yes.
And we all have that thing like with the free channels, like a built-in guide. And you're like, oh, what is that? Go there.
You can find
because the NFL has like a second NFL network there for free. And that's where it is. They're called FAST channels, free advertising supported television. They're kind of the thing. They're the future. It's the biggest growth in any streaming platform, these channels. So you can watch it there. You could also just go to the front of NFL.com, NFL.com/NFL channel, and watch it there as well. So we're doing that. And I'm also doing play-by-play. I've done a couple of games when Jim Donovan has been battling cancer. Great to have Jim back. Honor of my life to do a couple of Browns games.
You got some good ones, too.
I got some good ones. Got the Niners and the Colts game. Did a little college football on Peacock as well for NBC. Did a Buckeye game. So trying to keep busy, trying to have fun. Life goes on.
No, it's great. State of the NFC in your mind. I mean, now I'm hearing like our buddy Adam Shine on Sports. I heard him yesterday. I was driving the car and he says,
I can't believe.
Right, he's like, just give the Niners the Super Bowl championship. They just won. It's like, hold on, Adam. But that's
I am outraged.
But what is the state of the NFC in your mind? How do you look at the tiers? How do you look at the top? Obviously, San Francisco, by way of this past weekend, I'm assuming is number one. But where do you see the Lions in this whole thing?
I think San Francisco is number one, and then there's the rest of the NFC. I really do believe that. I think what the Niners did, if you look at it, there are 3 losses, and they lost 3 games in a row, fair and square. Their 3 losses came without Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel. If they stay healthy, which has always been the case with the 49ers, right? Hey, if they're healthy, and they've had their instances the last couple of years where they haven't been, and when they are, they make it to the end. The Niners are clearly the best team, full stop. End of conversation. When they added Chase Young for a steal. You talk about, John Lynch should have worn a ski mask when they handed that trade into the league office. They got Chase Young for, in essence, a 4th-round pick. They call it a compensatory 3, but if the first 3 rounds have 96 selections, and then you start the compensatory picks, right? The compensatory picks for the Niners, let's just call it 100. Might be up to 105. So are you telling me that nobody would give the Commanders something more than pick 100 or pick 105? That's what they gave up for Chase Young. And then if he walks, they don't want him, let's say. So they got other mouths to feed, too expensive a contract. If he walks, in all likelihood, they get back a 3rd-round compensatory pick a couple of years, in 2 years, right? So there's a chance they move up a few picks in the pick they get back from Chase Young 2 years later. I mean, that was theft. And since they got Chase Young, their pass rush has come alive again. They are the best team. And then it's between the Lions and the Eagles, honestly. I would say the Eagles because they have the skins on the wall, but clearly their defense was exposed a bit. Oh, Shaq Leonard is going to fix it. I like Shaq Leonard, but the guy couldn't get on the field for Indianapolis. Our boy Zaire Franklin from SU is out playing him, tackle machine. So I don't know, honestly, between the Lions, the Cowboys, and the Eagles, who is number 2.
Really?
But I think the chalk at the top of the NFC right now is better than the chalk at the top of the AFC.
You're going to tick off some of my listeners with that Chase Young thing because that's the biggest thing. I mean, everybody loves what Brad Holmes has done, but stood pat at the deadline, added Donovan Peoples-Jones, who's done nothing. But
hey, the Browns would love DPJ back this week with Amari Cooper down.
Yeah, but didn't go and get Montez Sweat or Chase Young, or I'm not saying they were going to trade for Danielle Hunter or Brian Burns, but didn't go get that edge, and they can't get to the pass to the quarterback now.
Well, so. Montez Sweat went for 2. I mean,
yeah.
that was a lot, and it's a Bears 2. I mean, Montez Sweat went for pick 36 in essence, 37 right now. That's a lot.
But Lion fans would have loved to have made some
Sure.
sort of defensive addition like a Chase Young at the deadline. So we'll see. So you're not even saying, you're saying Detroit, Philly, and Dallas all in the same line right now. Okay.
Don't you think?
I would still put Philly ahead of the Lions, even though they had a bad loss.
Okay, but what if the Cowboys pound on the Eagles this week?
True.
Yeah. I say I'll bunch them in together because I think if you were to play a 4-team tournament, right, those are your division winners, let's say. Well, they can't both. I mean, someone's got to win the East. It's not going to be, both Philly and Dallas. But if you were to play a 4-team tournament there, I think the Niners are clearly number 1. But if you took the Niners out of it, I could realistically see any of those teams winning. I could see the Lions winning in Philly. I could see the Lions winning in Dallas. I could. But I'd also like to see Dallas, when they face good teams, beat good teams and do so handily. I mean, the part of me wants to say the Cowboys are the Miami Dolphins of the NFC. Show me a good win. I
think, the fact that we're even having this discussion and saying Detroit is in the same class as Philly and Dallas is good enough for me. I think it's exciting. People are into it. And I love that you said that.
But can I ask you this? With expectations as sky high as they are, what's it like living on the other side of the street this year, where anything short of a trip to Vegas is considered, I'm going to guess, a disappointment, right?
For the Lions?
Yes.
No, I don't think anybody expects them to go to Vegas. I think
really?
No. I think some fans do, but I think mostly it's got to win the division.
Okay.
And then see who the matchup is. If they play Seattle, there will be many fans going, Geno Smith's owned us for 3 years. We're not going to win that game.
Have like Jim Caldwell nightmares from going to Seattle?
I don't know about that. I'm just saying.
I mean,
Geno Smith.
My point is with the Lions. Let me pull back on the Vegas.
Yes.
I get a clear impression, and it's understandable, and I would feel the same way as well if I were a Lions fan, that just getting into the playoffs isn't good enough because you feel that you have something special with good reason. Yeah.
I think
Am I wrong?
I think most fans say right now, Drew, Lions win the division and should win a home playoff game. Then it's gravy from there on out.
Okay.
But
so kind of like the Browns in 2020.
Well, like you said, the way they're playing right now defensively, it's a little bit concerning. You can't, thank goodness Jameis Winston came into that game Sunday, or Derek Carr was 15 out of 16 or something at the end of that game. It was ridiculous.
Did any of those passes travel more than 5 yards in the air?
Cars or Jameis?
Cars.
There was a lot of dink and dunk, but hey, they were completed, crazy.
Sure.
All right, buddy. It's great to see you. Love talking to you as always. And
likewise.
Enjoy the rest of the season, my friend. When can we see you today? What's your schedule today?
I'll be on the Power Ranking show on the NFL channel, also a podcast. Do you want to know where the Lions are in the new NFL Power Rankings?
Please break some.
Let me pull them up right now.
All right.
Hold on. Wait, NFL Power Rankings. The Lions are 7.
All right.
7.
That's fair.
Yeah. Okay. Behind the Chiefs, the Dolphins, the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Ravens, and the 49ers.
All right. That's fair.
NFL.com/power rankings. Yeah.
All right. Find Andrew Siciliano wherever you have a television. How about that? They always say, Find us wherever you get your podcasts. I'm just going to say
Yes.
wherever you have
can
a
do
TV,
that,
or
you
Roku
could
or
also
Tubi. I've watched you on Tubi before.
watch on the Black Mirror that you all have to keep in your pocket as well.
Exactly. All right, brother. Great to see you.
Yes, sir. Likewise.
There he is, Andrew Siciliano with us. NFL Network. We are back again tomorrow with a Wednesday. Locked On Lions.